So, it's been 2 years, almost 3 years, a long time since the last time I made a vlog, and I apologise for that. Honestly, I've had lots of things going on, honestly, lots of changes. If you want to see frequent stuff of me, go and hit me up on Instagram. I put my little name down, same name as this, but basically I'm there daily, if you know what I mean. But I'm gonna do my best to kind of put out a vlog for you guys so you can see the updates here, because I can go into great depth when I'm making a YouTube video, only small snippets on Instagram. But I apologise, honestly, I apologise from the depth of my heart for my 2-year hiatus. But a lot has changed. I've moved house. I spin you around slowly, I'm gonna give you Blair Witch, you get whiplash. But I don't live here anymore. This house is almost part finished. My son and his mother live in there. I now live in another house. But long story short, I've met a new partner now. I've upgraded. And I'm gonna build a house. If you see over there, like you see that boat down there, in between these two houses, I've just got planning permission to build another house. And I have to pinch myself to think that I get the second chance to do this. But anyways, I've been busy. There's deer fencing down there. There's over 200 pallets. We've got a goose, we've got a mallard duck, like I said. But today, we're going to be talking about just the kind of the pallet garden. This is my favourite spot. It's a bit like a kind of a crazy, busy food forest. I could talk, honestly, I can make about a 10-hour vlog talking about all the new things I've done, but let's focus on that patch today. And if you're wondering what this is, it's basically a mechanical seaweed harvester. And basically, it's like a big machine that goes off and it cuts the seaweed with it's been manned, but it's just like, it's like a weird, like elephant type sucky weird thing, and that's all the seaweed bags it's got behind it. So I'm still at the seaweed, but I haven't cut in over a year. Doctor's orders, I need to relax my chest because it's inflamed. I've got this condition called costochondritis. Not sure if you guys have heard of it, but I've had it for like a good maybe 8 years now, and it kind of keeps flaring up and that, and seaweed is no good for it. So I work part-time for the Co-op right now. I'm a delivery driver, which is great. I get 30% off. It pays the bills. I'm not complaining, but I will get back to cutting seaweed, but I think it'll be a lot easier once my new partner and her 2 kids come here as well. So it's going to be a busy house, but I'll give you a house tour and everything another time. But let's get to looking at my favourite patch. Hey, so we're in. The reason why I made that noise is because this guy is trying to jump up. This guy is called Gary. Did you see that? He's called Gary the Guinea, and I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but I feel like it's going to stick. My friend Fee named him, and constantly hungry. Like that, it's just a funny like guinea fowl. Like all the rest, we go over there and do what they're doing, but then Gary will stay in here amongst these ducklings. So we've got what, 7 there right now. This one's kind of poorly, but I ain't got it in me to kind of. It's still eating and still fighting, so I'm just letting it do what it's doing. And this lovely duckling here is called Ernestine. Anyway, so we're going to talk about this whole space. It'll be a very difficult vlog. Try not to stand on these guys, but it's approximately about 144 pallets used for this. And pallets here tend to have like about a 5-year warranty up outside here, and it's been since 2021 these guys got put in. So you can see they're starting to kind of look worse for wear. There's one that's dilapidated down there, but I'll show you in a sec once I get past these guys. So excuse me please guys, come on now, I don't want to squash you. I'll literally move the foot. I don't think I can make this vlog without feeding them. This Gary's going to keep jumping and biting and pecking me. Hey Gary. Anyways, let me get some food so that I can actually walk you around. And this lovely chap here is Gozzy, and we had him from our Gosling.
Cold. He was going like shaking.
Oh, he pooed, that's why.
Oh.
So these guys are munching. So I know it's not peak summer right now. Today is October the 27th, 2025. I'm going to start revealing the dates on these vlogs so you can makes it easier for everyone to understand and like what it's like up here. Gary's just jumped over. You see him there? He's crazy. Go and eat with them. So yeah, I'll start here and I talk you through the stages of what I've been seeing and what's going on right now. So let me spin you guys around. So if you're new here, this place used to look like that outside. It used to look exactly like that. And the predecessor put a lot of work in down the bottom there. He had like nets and everything and jars upon jars down there. I've excavated so many things. But in the time, in these past, how many, 2, 3, it's 2021, I put 30 chickens in this space, 30. And they scratched around 29 girls and 1 boy, 1 cock. He was a happy chappy. So basically, had them in here and they literally moonscaped the place. They moonscaped the whole place. And their coop was around this space just over here. It was in between. It was right to the right of the gunnera. It was right there. So it used to get quite dank and quite wet, which is why I put in some hugleswales and swales, but we'll talk about that more in a sec. So a ferret came and killed a lot of chickens, and killed a lot of ducks, and it stressed me out to the point I was like, you know what? Chickens don't really like the winter time. I don't really have like an indoor space for them, and I felt, you know what? Let me just get rid of the chickens. Gave a load away, put some in the freezer, and then just let this place just kind of come back. And I put loads of seeds. I had a miscellaneous tub of seeds. Loads of seeds went in. Loads of trees and shrubs went in, and just let nature just take its course. And dug a lot of swales, dug a lot of ponds, and we were left with this result. This is this year. This is 1 year's growth. And for the past how many years, I've been cutting all these kind of pollarding, literally just taking them right back, these willows, right down to the kind of the main stem, which is maybe like a foot off the ground. And this is this year's growth with the wind protection. So 2 meters. I know it's not like in willow tend to grow faster than this during the seasons, but for 6 seasons in newest, 6 months in newest, 2 meters is pretty epic. And that's kind of nice, kind of, if I can get a line of trees or willows doing this for like, you know, just like a swathe of willow, it will slow down the wind exponentially to the point when I can get away with growing stuff. And I'll say this is my cliche saying, but if you can slow the wind down and change the soil consistency, you can grow whatever you want. Now I've given you a little brief about this place. Let's talk about the first swale, which is up there, which is a hugleswale, which is 2 permaculture practices into one. Gary's annoyed I didn't put down food down there, so he's going kicking off. You need to go, you're greedy bugger, mate. So, if we look over here, the contours of this land, you can see it's on the slope. You can see it's kind of sloping like this. So the contours, as much as you think they're going straight across, they tend to meander. I've got a contour map. I might even put this up here, but believe me, I've got the site map because this house got built, so the architects gave us a big old site map. But it tends to kind of meander and go down this way. So what I did here was put in a swale and a hugel mound. And I feel like I need to go deep with a hugel mound, but let me explain really quickly. So what is a hugel mound? But I promise you this, one vlog I will show you and I'll go deep and explain exactly from start to finish how to make a hugel mound. Because they don't need to be Toblerone shaped, which is like this one behind me. They can be nice and neat. You can put them in a pot, you can put them in a bed. But because I got an outdoor space and it's like, what, this little patch here, I thought I can get away with making it like this. So essentially what it is that you get a bunch of old logs and wood and kind of just debris. Like let's say I've got like nice chunk of old logs and I put some cardboard on top of that. There's basically lots of carbon that will rot down. You put that on, you make your space, and then you put your mediums on top. So I had a lot of sods, I had a lot of soil because I've been doing a lot of digging. So I dug the soil up from here and placed it on top of that wood. So in time, that wood underneath will rot down and sequester a lot of the moisture. But whilst it's breaking down, we will then feed the plants that are in there, if that makes sense. So, and that's just a hugel mound. But a swale is a ditch dug on contour. So what will happen when I've dug the ditch on contour is that when it rains, this will pool up, slow the water down, and then fill up the underground aquifers, sequestering the water. Yes, I'm in Scotland. You're thinking, why the hell am I saving water in Scotland? It dries out here. Honestly, it dries out here, people. But believe it or not, for this year, it was like 2 months of just dry. Literally, it was just like essentially a drought. Because like on the mainland, you get in London, 6 months dry, 6 months wet. Whereas here, you don't really know. You might get 2 months dry, which is extreme dry, and then not like arid landscape, but the peak can crack. I've seen it. It looks like the desert, if you know what I mean. But peaked. But then when it pours, it comes down. So Gozzy is walking towards me and thinking, what the hell am I doing? Let me spin you around. Yeah, he imprinted on me, or she. But now it's very kind of, he became wild very quickly. I've let him fly around and do his thing, but he doesn't know what he is, really, which is kind of sad. So I'm hoping to get another goose next year. Let's see what I'm growing on here. Let's have a little spin around. I've got some few rarities, but I've got the kind of the usual suspects. I'll take you around and show you what the kind of the generic kind of type of shrub that you'll see in newest, what works in this space. Because this is essentially like a mini food forest in a way, but I'm just like, it's very experimental, if you know what I mean. Because I've been here 5 years, and I've been gardening on the mainland for like almost 13 years. So I know the lay of the land on the mainland, clay, chalk, London rubble. But when it comes to peat, moraine soil, and just stupidly mad winds, it's good to experiment and see what's for, and stand on the shoulders of giants, if you know what I mean. I don't know everything, so it's nice to see what other people have done and be like, oh, okay. And the joys of my job, I get to go around and see different people's gardens, see what works for them. So it's kind of nice, but I like experimenting. I got stinging nettled. They're still strong this time of year, jeez. Anywho, so right now I'm in the ditch, as you can see. I'm standing down. And what do we have here? It's kind of hard to tell with this time of year, but we have a lovely sycamore. And they're quite greedy plants, and they're native. They've been around here since the 1600s and they've naturalized themselves. But they struggle here too. But again, a lovely plant to see. I do like a sycamore tree. They tend to pop up in the most ridiculous of places on the mainland. Oh, look, and we've got a lovely little bit of hazel here. This was given to me. This is sitting pretty. You can see it's still got its leaves on. Look, all ducks in a row. Oh, on a hugelman. Lots of willow. We've got Olearia traversii, which is a kind of common plant you see up here. It's from Australasian plant. It's evergreen, kind of looks like an olive, but it grows fast. It can take the wind, it can take a salty breeze in the air. But there's a rare gem just here, which is, oh my God, it's grown this much this year. And it's an evergreen oak, Quercus ilex, and gives out kind of acorns, and it's evergreen. And that's the most it's ever seen it grow, because the prevailing winds, like, let's give you your bearings, straight that way is south, and most of my prevailing winds come from the southwest. So the wind comes buffeting down here, hence why I've put this kind of pallet things. These are one of the first things to go in. I'll show you a little, like a vlog right now, or a little, what's the word, cover roll, B-roll, there you go, of how it used to look before, after the chickens, and this was one of the first things I put in. So it's literally just these shrubs and the creature hotel over here. So this Olearia traversii, I might think it's taking away the light, but honestly, when the sun's at its peak in the summertime, look, there's like nothing. It's like 80% sky here, and the sun will just beam down and obviously give goodness, because that's grown a lot more. So obviously underneath, and I forgot to mention this actually. So wood chip, all that kind of stuff is a carbon. So carbon needs a lot of nitrogen to break down. So when they say you bury carbon, it ties in the nitrogen, it's because it needs all that goodness to break. It becomes greedy and it needs a lot of it to break down. So in the first year, this will be a bit like, meh. But then the second year, it's just started to break down and start to feed and become what. That's why it's kind of good to start to use decomposed stuff already, because it's already in that process of decomposition to then give back to nature, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense, instead of just taking it all. So that's what I forgot to mention. And this is rabbit proof, by the way. Not rat proof, sadly, but yeah, I've got a solution for rats soon, because sadly a cat passed away up the road down there and she's not encroaching as much as she used to. Guinea fowls hate cats. I've seen them chase away cats before, but she can, obviously at night time they're sleeping, so she can encroach. But yeah, she didn't get to 2 years old. Lovely cat, but she's buried up there. Rest in peace, Bundle. Beautiful cat, honestly. So yeah, so that's why the rats have taken the pee right now, but I've got a solution. But anyways, this is my hugel mound here. Let me flip you around again. Lots of nettle popping up all over the place. We've got a dandelion down here. I'm not going to tell you everything, but willow herb, we've got comfrey, which is a dynamic accumulator. If you're not sure what that is, it's basically a plant that kind of mines goodness from the soil and then makes them ready available in their leaves, and then you can crop and drop that and then put those leaves elsewhere with the crop and drop, the kind of method of the permaculture kind of thing. And lots of comfrey around there. Bocking 14, there's the usual kind of comfrey here too. But anyways, let's move around to this section and have a look down here where the duckies are. Also, before I forget, I forgot to mention this lovely man. It might look like nothing, but it's a beetle bucket. So what is a beetle bucket? A beetle bucket, oh, by the way, this is old mustard. Lovely little, cute little yellow flower. Again, a little dynamic accumulator. Again, kind of giving out its goodness. Here comes the ducks, all coming in around. I'm not sure if you can see them, they're kind of sweet. Where are they? They're there. I can't even see this, the visor's so small in here. Anywho, so a beetle bucket. Sadly, I have a notorious pest called New Zealand flatworm. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. Google it, it's a pain in the bum. I have it. I've taken 8 tons of contaminated soil, so I've been dealing with that for the past couple of years. And I've researched that, put you up here so you can see this, guys. I've researched that beetles, ground beetles especially, can eat their eggs. And honestly, this pest is like an alien. Like, it's ridiculous. Oh, look at that. Look at the, I don't know what type of bird that is. Like I said, I'm learning birds right now. It's lovely to see the birds use the plants and all the things that you put in. It makes you feel proud of it. Like, I did that. Anyways, New Zealand flatworms. They can go without food for a whole year. Honestly, they're crazy. They literally, if you cut them up into 10 bits, those 10 bits become flatworms. And you remember seeing the film The Thing? That's what it reminds me of. And if there's no eggs, this is what makes them so almost impossible to get rid of. If they haven't got a mate to mate with, they literally decide to split themselves up to then make more themselves. That's how bonkers that is. Imagine that. Like, I can't find a mate right now. I'm just going to duplicate myself. Nature's nature's bonkers. Anyway, Gary, you just better stay back. But anyways, he's standing on the beetle bucket right now, and I've got loads of them. I've got a good maybe dozen dotted about the place. So it's a bit like SimCity, having them poked around strategically. Doesn't really work where it's kind of boggy, but where there's dry bits, I will put beetle buckets. So I've got a good 30 plus buckets in there to make them. So it's a nice kind of activity for the wee one. Before we move down there, let's just talk about this willow. Look how impressive the life on this is. And like I said, every year I pollard this guy, all the willows down. But this year is the last year I do that. So this year I'm going to thin out, not cut right down, to thin out. So still give the same kind of shape, but just thin out and then start spreading the love elsewhere. So like, basically just imagine this, loads of willow in here, cut them back and then start just moving the life out there. This is what I'm going to do. And the reason being is because these guys haven't got much life in. Like I said, they were put in 2021. They got roughly 5 years before they start to break down. And like I said, one's down there, because once this breaks down, then the rabbits can potentially kind of move in. And the thicker these willow are, so I got stinging that one again. The thicker these willow are, then the less likely the rabbits will want to interfere and nibble the bark, because they're a bit too chunky for tree guards and it looks a bit unsightly. So that's what my plan is for these guys. And I've realised that rabbits like to eat olearia too. So I will kind of cut these guys in half, but in time they're going to thicken up at the base. But this is impressive growth for this year. It really, really is. So anyway, let's move around this way. In fact, I'm going to go around this way because these ducks again are getting in the way. But like I said, Olearia traversii. We've got Olearia diatonii, which I've realised likes really boggy soil. So same, related, but different type. And it looks like kind of giant kind of tree rosemary kind of thing. But it's really, honestly, a really good plant. Really, really good Olearia for boggy spaces. And we've got a sweet little horse chestnut. That's not a sweet chestnut, but it's a cute horse chestnut, I should say. And it's just kind of doing its thing back here, struggling in its little space. But in time, these guys will grow up big and it should fill up the space. Got a lot of all they do really, really well up here. They're kind of nitrogen fixers. Alunus glutinosa, nice plant. Can you see it's kind of windswept? The wind's coming from this way, but funny enough, I forgot to mention this actually. The Woodland Trust are coming, or not coming, they've been here and have advised me on what spaces I can plant trees and stuff. The lady comes and she puts her fancy stick down in the ground, and so I'm getting 600 trees to plant over just in certain patches. So in between now and April or March, I think next year we replant trees in those times, because that's when it's less stormy. January and February you question why you live here, so that's why we don't plant in those times, because things just get battered. So that's why I have to wait till then. But I'm going to prepare the ground, get it all nice and mulched, so when the trees come in they don't have to compete with grass and all sorts of stuff. Anywho, I'll flip you around again and talk about all these things. So as you can see here, this big massive clump of Bocking 14, Comfrey Bocking 14, dynamic accumulator. Mine's Goodness from the soil, I mentioned it before, has amazing flower on for the bees. The bumblebees go crazy for it. Tiny bit of mildew, need to work on the kind of the flow in here, but it's understandable, hence why I've got these pallets around, and there's a lot of plants. Honestly, in here in the summertime, you can't see the bottom. I can lose my son in here. He's only almost 1 meter 40 right now, but you can't, even taller than that, you can see some people come in here, you can't even see them, which is great. Honestly, it's just a great thicket, and that's, a lot of people come in and say, oh, it's like a jungle. I'm like, yes, this is what I want to envision. Oh, a little type of mallow just there, forget. What is that? Who's doing that? Oh, look, I did not know that. Look, the guinea fowl, he's nibbling the lovage. Ah, so I thought, little duck's kicking off. I didn't realise this is lovage, by the way. We've got a lovely flower. There's the main one over here. The flower can get as tall as me. One of those only plants you see like hoverflies and flies and wasps all kind of like almost like a communal space, almost like a bar for pollen, and all these flies will fly on top of it. So it's all like a zoo in here, isn't it? So I'm getting distracted by all these things. I could talk about this, I want to talk about everything, but I'm just going to try and hone it in. But let's focus on the Olearias. So we've got Olearia traversii, very good shrub, very good windbreak. We've got Olearia diatonii, again, loves boggy soil, very good windbreak, almost like a big old nest for plants. And here's the other Olearia here, which is Olearia macrodonta, which is my favourite because it's got an extensive root system and it looks like holly, I think macro because of the teeth, or denta, sorry, and it kind of grows really fast. I cut this right down. Look, this is almost like a meter's worth of growth in this year. And the other Olearia I tend to use, which is Olearia salandri, which is just this one here. And I like topiary, me, so I can see this in time, ready to kind of cut and shape and form and look pretty. But I'm getting that growth, so I can make lots of cuttings out of it. And if you wonder what this is Brachyglottis senecchio. The councils tend to plant it, and it can take like death conditions. Has like a bit of a boring yellow flower, but good for the bees and the beneficiaries out here. And again, Olearias. But let's talk about this little space over here, because this is kind of like my first space I planted. It's like a guild.